And welcome back to my channel. My name is Larki and today I am back with a true crime video for you guys. Today I am sharing the case of Danielle Stislicki. Now I chose this case for two main reasons. The first being that the 3rd anniversary of her disappearance was this past month in December of 2019. The second being that the main suspect in Danielle's disappearance is actually going on trial for her murder later this month. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into the case. Danielle, Danny for short, was born on February 28th, 1988 to parents Ann and Rich. She was one of 4 children. She had 2 younger sisters, Holly and Jillian, and a brother named Matthew. Now I couldn't find if Matthew was older or younger than her, but I'm pretty sure he was the oldest. Danielle's loved ones describe her as very sweet. She had a bubbly and silly personality. She was very funny and driven. Her former high school teachers often said that she was very fun to be around, and she was just an open book. At the time of her disappearance, Danielle was 28 years old, and she worked at MetLife in Southfield, Michigan, where she worked for almost 10 years. And that brings us to the day of Danielle's disappearance. On December 2nd, 2016, Danielle showed up to work. It was a normal Friday. She had plans to meet her best friend Sarah for dinner that night. And on this particular day, she was actually scheduled to work later than usual. But as the day went by, she noticed that it was a little slow at work, so she asked if she could leave early since she had plans that night, and she was told that that would be okay. At this point, she decided to text her friend Sarah and let her know that she would be stopping by her home before she finally met up with her. Danielle left work at 5 p.m. that night, and unfortunately she never made it to dinner. After about an hour, Sarah started getting worried. She started texting and calling Danielle. All of her texts went unanswered and all of her calls went directly to voicemail. The next day, Saturday, December 3rd, Danielle did not make it to work. At about 6 p.m. on Saturday, since Sarah still had not heard from Danielle, she decided to drive by her apartment just to see if she was home and if everything was okay. When she arrived, she noticed that Danielle's 2015 Jeep Renegade was parked in its usual spot, which was only a few feet away from her front door. Sarah tried knocking on the door, yelling out Danielle's name, and even throwing pebbles at the window. At this point, she became very worried and texted Danielle's sisters and let them know of the situation. Danielle's sisters then called their mother to let them know what was going on, and Danielle's parents both decided to go to Danielle's apartment themselves just to check out the area and see what was going on. When they arrived, they also saw that Danielle's car was outside, and they noticed that her purse was still in the car. They decided to let themselves into the apartment with the spare key that they had, and when they went in, they saw that no toiletries were missing, there was no clothes missing, there was still food in the fridge, and Danielle's cat had been left unfed. After not finding any signs of Danielle, her parents became very worried and contacted the police to file a missing persons report. They also contacted AAA to try to gain access to her car since her car keys were nowhere to be found. Inside her purse, they found her IDs, credit cards, and some cash that had been untouched, but her cell phone and her car keys were missing. The next day, the search for Danielle officially began. Police, canines, friends, and family searched the area around her apartment building, which was heavily wooded. They also searched along the walking trail. Within a week of finding Danielle's vehicle, a helicopter search of the area was conducted. Police also found Danielle's Fitbit and her keys along Grand River Avenue, which was partway between her apartment and a Tim Hortons restaurant. On December 7, 2016, police held a press conference in which they confirmed that 12 different agencies were involved in the search for Danielle, including the FBI and the Secret Service. They also stated that they believed Danielle was held against her will and she did not leave on her own. Police also stated that they believed that Danielle left the office building where she worked in her own car. In the days following her disappearance, $125,000 were raised as reward money in exchange for any information for Danielle's disappearance. $50,000 was donated by her employer, MetLife. Another $50,000 was donated by the apartment complex where she lived, and the other $25,000 was raised by a GoFundMe set up by a family friend. On December 19, 2016, police announced that they believed that Danielle had become victim of foul play. By this point, witnesses began to come forward saying that they saw Danielle in the parking lot on the day of her disappearance. Danielle was seen talking to a man who seemed to be having car trouble in the parking lot of her office building. This man had the hood up on his car while him and Danielle talked. The man was later identified as Floyd Galloway, who had been a security guard at the building. but had lost his job that fall. Danielle's mom had remembered that Galloway might have had a crush on her. He often tried to walk around the office looking for her in hopes of talking to her. He would stop by her cubicle at work, and he would also come up to her in the employee cafeteria and try to strike up conversations. There was even an instance in which Danielle received a bouquet of flowers from a secret admirer, and it was believed to be from Floyd. On December 22nd, police got a search warrant to search Galloway's home. As a result of the search, a mattress, some floorboards, and a car were confiscated and taken in for forensic testing. The next big break in the case came in June 2017 when Galloway was arrested in connection to a sexual assault that had occurred in September 2016, just 3 months prior to Danielle's disappearance. On September 4th, 2016, a 28-year-old woman told police that she was jogging around Hines Park around 7:30 when she was attacked by a man. The man came up behind her, grabbed her neck, and attempted to remove her clothes and told her he wanted to have sex with her. Galloway was charged with kidnapping, criminal sexual conduct with intent to commit penetration, and assault with intent to do great bodily harm by strangulation. Following the arrest, police officially named Floyd Galloway a person of interest in Danielle's disappearance after some of the DNA testing conducted on the items previously taken from his home matched Danielle's DNA. On July 19, 2017, police conducted a search of Hines Park in connection with Danielle's case. They were hoping to find any items relating to Danielle's, including some items that she was last seen wearing on the day of her disappearance. I'll put a picture on the screen so you guys can see what those items were. Unfortunately, nothing was found on this search, but police stated that they did not expect to find Danielle alive. On July 20th, 2017, police searched Galloway's home in Berkeley once more, but once they arrived, they found that the house had been cleared out. They visited a home in Royal Oak in which Galloway had been staying with his wife and her mother. His wife handed over some items that might be of interest. In November 2017, Galloway accepted a plea deal for the Hines Park assault, and the following month, he was sentenced to 16 to 35 years for the attack and attempted rape. On November 2018, police stated that they had issued 78 different search warrants on Danielle's case. They were trying to focus on the areas that Galloway had frequented and were trying to come up with enough evidence to charge him for Danielle's murder. On November 5th, 2019, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel officially charged Floyd Galloway in Danielle's case. He was charged with premeditated first-degree murder. In pretrial hearings held in September 2019, police were able to compile the evidence they had found to piece together the events of the day of Danielle's disappearance. They found that Galloway had not gone to work that day, claiming that he had a doctor's appointment. At 5 p.m. when Danielle got out of work, witness testimony confirmed that he was the last person to be seen with her when he was spotted in the parking lot talking to her. He was later seen in the passenger seat of her car while she drove out of the parking. In a video shown in court, investigators believe Danielle's car had been traveling eastbound along 11 Mile Road about half a mile from Galloway's house in Berkeley just after 5 p.m. Another video shows the car traveling the opposite direction just before 8 p.m. About an hour later, a cab driver confirmed to picking up Galloway at a Tim Hortons located less than a mile away from Danielle's apartment. He was dropped off at an apartment in Southfield and acted like he was going to go inside but turned around and walked away. This apartment was in close proximity to the MetLife building, so investigators believed he walked over to the parking lot to retrieve his car. Investigators presented a video in court which shows a car which they believe to be Galloway's traveling eastbound on 11 Mile near his home shortly after 9:30. I'm going to be sharing some of the evidence that investigators have on Galloway. Investigators found that both Danielle and Galloway's cell phones had been pinging off the same cell phone tower on the day of her disappearance. They also found Danielle's DNA on carpet samples removed from Galloway's home during their first search. Writing samples taken from Galloway also show that his writing matched the writing on the note delivered along with the flowers that Danielle received from a secret admirer. Investigators also tracked Danielle's phone to Galloway's home at 5:07 p.m. where it stayed until 7:53 p.m. They also found that Galloway's phone was pinging off the same cell phone tower near his home at 6:20 p.m. Although Danielle's body has not been found, investigators believe that they have enough evidence to convict Galloway of Danielle's murder. His trial is set to begin on the 27th of this month. This is one of those cases that seems like it's going to have some sort of resolution And although the family might not get all of their questions answered, they will be able to get some closure now that justice seems like it's going to be served. I hope to give you guys some more updates as the trial begins. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be back with more videos.